Welcome to Sam's Cooking Show. Today we're making Masitas de Puerco. Let's get into it. For this recipe, we're going to prepare and cook our pork, then make our chimichurri sauce. We'll cook some onions in the pork marinade, and finally make some congri rice. All right, so Masitas de Puerco. I believe the direct translation is fried pork chunks. So Masitas de Puerco sounds a little cuter. We've got some pork shoulder. We're gonna marinate this overnight with 6 cloves of garlic, some salt, pepper, oregano, cumin, and most importantly, this sour orange marinade, naranja, agria. Now all we gotta do is throw this top on, make sure it's airtight, and give this a good old shaky shake. Let's take the top off to make sure that's all nice and coated. It looks like it is there. Then we'll throw that in the fridge. You can do 30 minutes, but ideally overnight. So I will see you tomorrow. All right, it's tomorrow. We're gonna grab our pork out of the fridge here. Well, all the recipes have said that I've seen say to cook these in oil and like do low for like 5-10 minutes and then sear them. What I found in my test run was that they were a little too done. So this is an attempt to make them a little more, low and slow in the crock pot and then sear at the end. I don't know if that's gonna work, but we'll find out together. So one thing we're gonna do before we throw them in the crock pot is dry off this marinade, because if they're wet later, they're not gonna get as much of a sear. Throw those in there. And then you'll repeat that process with the rest of your pork chunks. And then it's important not to discard this little bit of marinade we got left. We're gonna cook some onions to top the pork later on. So keep this just in the fridge. All right, and then all we gotta do now is put the top on, plug it in, and we're gonna do 6 to 8 hours on low here. So we'll go up to 6 and we'll see how it's looking from there, if we need to do it a little bit more. All right, so it's been about 2 hours here. You can see the pork is cooking very slowly. I might give this a stir actually. And it's already kind of jiggly, but ideally I think if it's super jiggly at the end, that's usually a good sign that it's nice and tender and kind of pull apart on the inside. And there are a few things that we can do in the meantime. We're gonna make our chimichurri. For that, we got cilantro, parsley, red wine vinegar, 2 limes, some more oregano, a red Fresno chili pepper. You could also do red pepper flakes, a small shallot, 2 garlic cloves, and some salt. So to begin, let's do the easy stuff first. So this olive oil going in, it's a 1/3 cup. And we're gonna do, it says a 1/2 cup of both parsley and a 1/2 cup of cilantro. So we'll kind of just eyeball it. I might do like half maybe, something like that, and kind of twist that off. Is that 1/2 cup? I think so. But this chimichurri sauce I've found is really good. When I first discovered this dish, me and some friends would go to a Cuban restaurant, and I would usually just get like the nachos or something. And shout out to Mary, she said, oh, you gotta get the Masitas de Puerco. It's really good. And I got it once and I've been getting it ever since, and that's what inspired me to make this today. I just think it's a really solid Cuban dish, and I would highly recommend giving it a try sometime. That's looking pretty good there, so we'll scoop this off to the side into our oil, and then we'll do the same with our cilantro. Cut down one side and rotate and go down this side. Then next we'll squeeze in the juice of 2 limes. It says 1 to 2 tablespoons. So I'm doing 2 limes, and that should be good. Next, we'll do 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. And I believe it's 1 teaspoon of oregano. That's good. For the garlic, we will very finely dice this, or mince this, I suppose. Just go down the side like this, and then just run your knife through that a few times and into the chimichurri sauce. And we'll also do a teaspoon of salt. Great. All right, and then peel our shallot. And then for this, I'd say we're just going for a mince or a very fine dice this way as well. We'll add that in as well. And then last but not least, our red Fresno chili pepper here. So we'll cut down off the top, cut down the side like so, and cut down the other side. All right, so we got everything in there. We're gonna give this a good stir. And yeah, now it's closer to a sauce consistency. Give it a little taste. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Our chimichurri is ready to go. While that's finishing up, we've got our arroz con gris, which is just rice and beans kind of together. You can do just white rice and black beans, but at the restaurant that I've had this before, they do this kind of rice, and I think it's really good. The process that I'm doing is slightly different from the recipe that I'll have in the description below, a few different ones. What they say to do is just do everything in a pot. You do the beans are cooked, and then you add the rice. In my test run, I did that, and the rice was kind of mushy. So I'm resorting to using a rice cooker for the rice with a sofrito, some bacon and peppers and onions and things to kind of give it a base of flavor. So that'll go in the rice cooker, but first we have to cook our beans. So we've got 8 ounces of black beans here. We're gonna give these a quick rinse here. Make sure there's no dirt or anything like that in there. So run the water over them. Grab our cleaned beans and add these to our pot, like so. Gonna add 1, 2, 3, 4 cups of water just to make sure they're fully submerged. And then we'll turn that heat on and wait for that to reach a boil before bringing to a simmer and letting sit for 2 hours. All right, we got our beans boiling. We got our pork cooking. The next thing we're gonna do for this arroz con gris is the sofrito. So we got some bacon, an onion, green pepper, and then some garlic. So we're gonna thinly slice this bacon. Beautiful. Cut up about half a cup of a green pepper. Cut off the ends. And add our peppers. We're also going to dice an onion. And then we'll also grate 2 cloves of garlic. All right, and then the last thing we'll add to our rice right before we hit cook on our rice cooker is half a teaspoon of some more oregano and half a teaspoon of cumin. And then also we'll throw a bay leaf in there. That's all the seasoning there for the rice. All right, we're about 4 hours into the crock pot pork here, and I think they're getting close to done, and we're still gonna finish them on a skillet. So I might just set it to low, or not low, set it to warm for a little bit, because these are approaching 190, 200. And I think once it gets to 200, then it's like, okay, but I don't wanna go quite over that. Just gonna set it to warm for the next hour or two while the beans and rice finish up. We're gonna take those onions that we threw in here earlier and cook these very slowly on a skillet as well. Turn that heat on, maybe medium to start, just to get them going, and then we'll go low. So lots of low and slow stuff in this recipe. So if you have anything to do, but you want to take a break to cook some things every now and again, I'd say this is the recipe for you. All right, these have been going for about maybe 10 minutes now. I've been flipping them every once in a while. And we're not going for like caramelization or anything. They just need to be, I would say, soft enough to be able to, you know, squeeze a circle like that. I'd say these are good to set aside. All right, and then in the same pan, we're gonna start a sofrito. So we'll go in with our bacon there, break it up as much as possible. All right, I think this is just about done here. Try to get as much of the fat off as possible there. And then in that same pan, we're gonna go in with our onions and peppers. Get those sauteed for about 3 minutes. All right, so those are going for another 2-3 minutes. In that process, we're gonna try to get some bean broth from our beans. So these beans are going, they're not quite done yet. We got 1 cup of rice, so we're gonna do 2 cups of bean broth. So we'll set this to the side here, scoop up a little. Our beans are just about done anyway, so that works out nicely. Yeah, that should be close. Now we'll add the garlic. Just go for 30 seconds. Cut that heat. This is looking good. And we're gonna add carefully our sofrito to our rice cooker. We'll go in with our 1 cup of rice. Then we'll do about 1.5 cups of our bean broth. You can already see right there getting that dark color. And then last but not least, we'll add bay leaf and those seasonings, the oregano and cumin. And all we gotta do for this guy, put on the top, plug it in, and hit cook. It's probably a good idea to give it a stir as well, just so everything's all mixed up. And you can already tell the smell of all those flavors are, they smell good. The nice thing about a rice cooker is that it just cooks the rice. You don't have to worry about it being mushy or not cooked or anything like that. Every time I've used a rice cooker, it's cooked rice. While that's finishing up, I temped the pork and it looks like it's right about a 200. So we're gonna pull that, and it is feeling quite jiggly, so that's good. Put it down on a wire rack so that it drains some of that liquid, and then we'll also dry them off with a paper towel before searing in a second. All right, those are looking mostly dry there. All right, we got a click there, which means it's done. So we're gonna take the top off and give them a quick fluff. Take out the bay leaf. Scoop those over into a bowl. All right, that's looking good there. We're gonna add a few more beans, maybe like that. You can always add more. And then all of our bacon as well. And then give this a nice stir, getting everything incorporated. There is our arroz con gris. All right, and last but not least, we're gonna sear our pork chunks here. So turn that heat up on high. I've got some bacon fat that I save every time I make bacon. I'm gonna add that into our skillet, and we want it to be sizzling before the pork goes in there. So we got a lot of them. We'll throw down some and see if we get some good color on one side. There we go. And then I'm gonna go kind of in a clockwise motion so I remember which ones have gotten seared. Let's see if We've got, ooh, that's good. That's a good sign. I'm gonna flip that. Might go ahead and lower that heat a little bit. Try to get all sides coated. Oh yeah, it's a beautiful deep red almost. Grab a plate to throw our finished pork onto. Yeah, I think those are looking pretty good. And go in with the rest of our pork. While those are going, I'm gonna cut into one of these, see what we're working with here. Hopefully it just cuts right through. Oh yeah, that I think is gonna be money. All right, there's our pork. We're ready to plate. All right, we got our Masitas de Puerco here. Let's go in for some congri rice. Oh yeah, that's good. Hit it with a little bit of lime. Let's give it a bite. That's pretty good. I guess, to be honest, the way that I did it in the crock pot, you do lose some of the juiciness and the marinade, especially. Plantain chips are good. The good thing about these is like they do, I don't know if you can see, but like they do just fall apart. So texture good, flavor lacking a little. Maybe just do it the way the recipe says. Yeah. Thanks for watching Sam's Cooking Show. Thanks for watching next time. See ya. If you feel like it's lacking that marinade, you could always just hit it with some of this. Oh, well, true.